Agent Lead Lab made over $600,000 this month, and in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what that looks like as a lead company, how we were able to do that, what are some of the principles and the things that I learned, what are our margins, what have the numbers been, and where I'm expecting us to go over the next 6 to 12 months. My name's Trey. I'm the owner of the company here. We've helped over 550 agents in 4 years being in business, issue pay $40,000 per month. And on this channel, I try to talk about the strategies, tactics, and behaviors that you can go out and implement. But on this special edition, I'm gonna be breaking down our business and where we're currently at going forward. All right, so first things first. I wanna talk a little bit about how much money we've made and what we've been doing. My goal, I posted on my Instagram back in November or December. It might have been November of last year of 2025. I said we're gonna get to $1 million a month. And at the time, I think we're doing like 200K. And now when I say these numbers, I mean in revenue. I'm a big gross profit guy. So I look at how much money you're taking home in relation to what you're doing. So this past month, which would be June, today is July 1st as I'm recording this, we got $627,000. I may have my team, or probably won't do it, but anyways, another video I can show you guys really quickly, but I want to break down our numbers. I'm one of these people that I don't really just like talking about something. I want to make sure you guys kind of understand what that is and what that means. So $627,000 in revenue, right? So what that means, we have about 30% margin to gross profit. All right, so that means we're bringing in right around like $180-ish thousand after we pay for our initial lead spend. And then from there, you've got your sales reps that you have to pay, etc. The reason why I want to start here, because that's how much money we make, right? And that's really not good for us. So our margins when we were at like 100,000, 200,000 were 60, 70%, sometimes even 50%. But I do want to talk about one of the reasons why it's set up like that, because in April, we did $548,000, but we actually took home $200,000. So we're about $100,000 short, but our take home was $210,000 in gross profit. So our margins were slightly higher. And here's why. One of the quickest things I learned as a lead company is that people love speed. What does that mean? Like, how fast can I get the order? So as a lead company previously, I would just have people getting their orders filled in 7 to 10 days, sometimes with 25 pack of leads. And what I realized is that, especially with generating the leads in real time, a lot of times you're missing out on more money that you can be growing. Now, I also got a brand new media buyer. I literally changed over my team. In the midst of all this, we brought in two new sales reps. We changed position. I hired my COO. All this happened in the past 60 days. So just for a timeline, in April, we did 547,000. In May, we actually did 490. So we went down. And then this month we went to 620. And how that kind of works. So we transitioned. I brought my COO in, and then I basically brought a new media buyer in, and then I brought another sales rep in. So I had 3 new positions to fill. And then from there, now we rolled into June and we're at the $600,000 mark. And what I meant by the speed part was I noticed that in order for us to grow, one of the things that we were going to need to do is get more orders in quickly, right? So we had to figure out how much we need to spend every day, and then how much more money we have to make on top of what we needed to spend in order to get to our goal, right? So what does that look like? That's let's say at that $500,000 mark that we were at before, and we brought them 200, we were only spending 10, 15,000, sometimes even per day, right, on ads. Most of the times it was closer to 10 and 12. So you can imagine, if you're making $20,000 a day or whatever it is, or 15,000 if you want to go to 400 or $500,000 in a month, you're bringing home money every day, right? Well, when we got into May, we wanted to test with how fast can we get orders delivered without changing the overall quality of the lead. So we had to test different marketing strategies, different segmentation in terms of how do we set up the ad set versus how do we set up the campaign. There were all these little subtle adjustments that we needed to make. And that was going to not only get the leads delivered faster, because one thing to say, hey, just crank the ad spend up in an ad set or a campaign, but then it can just fail and bottom out and then you're absolutely cooked. Or you can go in and prioritize diversifying, having multiple ad sets, different targeting, figuring out new angles and variations, and I'm bringing a new media buyer and training them up. So it was just a lot going on. So we took a little dip and then we had to spend more money than we would like to for us to hit our goals because, once again, it was just a part of the process. So what I realized quickly is like there's a science to being able to deliver leads fast, but also keep the quality high, and it takes time. Right, I was getting frustrated. I'm like, dude, like I brought in all these new people. I'm kind of not losing money, but like my margins are getting cut slimmer because now I have to pay more staff. So that 180, 200 is getting stretched more because I'm bringing in new people, better talent. So it's like as I grow, I'm realizing there are all these different strains that come with the business, and I'm realizing that like, yo, this is tough, bro. Like this is not something that you can just accomplish overnight. And it's very different than most other businesses. I work with life insurance agents and agency owners, and they say $1 million per month. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's $1 million a month, but like it's advances, and it's not in a disrespectful way, right? So let me preface by saying this. All right, it's advances, and it's like a loan, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's really only taking, $1 million divided by 12. That's kind of what it is, whatever the math on that is. Right? So like that's kind of what you're actually making. Now, obviously you get an advance, and I think that's what makes financial services so great. But when you look at, like, that's how I thought about it. I was like, okay, just get more people that can sell and like build this thing up, get a few people, and like we're good. And like, dude, it's not like that. Like I'm realizing you gotta have like everything dialed in, you got a delivery, you're gonna have chargebacks from people. You gotta have like all your compliance stuff taken care of. There's always gonna be people emailing you, messaging you, people are gonna be complaining a lot more. And it's not just about leads. You got a sales team, you got a marketing team. You're trying to come up with creative. You have to figure out all of your operations. You have to understand the client success journey, how to continue to optimize, paying attention to what's going on in the marketplace and how you can innovate, right? So these are all little subtle nuances that we're having to now I'm having to learn through as I'm getting there. And I remember when we crossed the 500 mark, I was like, man, we just hit 500K. Like, that's crazy. And I'm like, dude, we basically got to start the business over again to get another 500 to get to 1 million. And like, to me, 1 million is not even really scratching the surface in the grand scheme of things. Like there's tons of companies doing way better than me relative, even in the lead space, right? And what I mean by that is like clients in terms of like how many people they have, right? So they're managing a lot more money and they have probably better systems, whatever it may be. So that leads me as my next point. So that was the first thing, of breakdown of like numbers, like how much money like I'm making, how the numbers work, what it looks like. So once again, go over it again, 620,000, about 180,000 in GP, gross profit. And then the rest of it was basically just like ad spend to be able to like fulfill for clients, etc. So those are like kind of our numbers. And then we'll, move into, like I said, 2 months ago, we made less, but we brought home more because we were spending less per day, but our lead orders were taking longer to get fulfilled. So it was like a lesson learned. I was like, okay, there's like a science to this. You gotta be willing to do that. On top of, we didn't sell as many aged lead units in June as we normally do, which was intentional because we're also just trying to clean up our aged lead dynamics, and we're rolling out with like new offers. So there was a lot of new things, and I hired 3 new people, right? So in growth, what I'm learning is like, there's ups and downs, but the ups and downs may not come in terms of revenue. They may come on the back end, or you may have like no revenue spikes, but optimize the back end, right? So you could hire new staff, new sales team, and like they could pull more out for what you put in, or like you could keep the same staff, the same sales team, and they're getting ramped up, and now they're pulling out, right, more than what you're putting out more than you're getting in return, and it's just a part of the process, right? So now we're getting through the ramping. So like COOs getting ramped up, new media buyers getting ramped up, sales team is continuing to optimize and grow, right? We're bringing in new back-end support as well from like an operations standpoint. So as we continue to scale, there will be like these ups and downs, but those ups and downs for me were always just like either revenue or profit. And it's like, it doesn't work like that, right? It's like, you have to figure out which of these metrics that is constantly changing as you are evolving and as you're changing, right? But if you're making more revenue, you're moving in the right direction. That's how I viewed it so far, right? So therefore, that's kind of where we're at. One of the key things I learned is like people change everything, right? It's something I say in the life insurance space, the same thing. You find the right sales rep who comes in and builds a team, it could change everything, right? I won't use any names, but one of my boys was doing this thing, and they brought in one guy. One guy changed kind of like the whole industry. And that one guy like brought in a brand new lead type, revamped everything, blew his business and himself up. That's just a part of the process, right? You find the right person, you find the right person in the right vehicle, they will take you to the moon, right? So what I'm realizing is there's talented people, and then on the other end, there's other people who aren't as talented that can also bring you down. And then there's people that are talented but don't work hard. And you have to learn as you grow, you have all these different segmentations of archetypes of individuals and what they can and cannot do for your organization as you continue to grow. And you just have to be okay with that and realize that that's just a part of business, that's a part of growing, that's a part of the process, right? So the more you can understand that, the more you can compartmentalize that in your mind, the better off you will be as you continue to grow, right? And the cool thing is with the lead space, unlike a traditional agency space, you're not necessarily like, one of the things I focus on is we have a lot of like LTV and retention. So I know some people will watch it and be like, oh, your margins aren't really that great if you're like a lead person or a lead guy. And like, I'm like, okay, cool. Like that doesn't really matter. I'll tell you one thing though, all of our clients come back. I've been doing this for 4 years and we've grown. And really, if I'm being honest, we've been in business for 4 years. I've been generating leads for 4 years, but I haven't even really been taking this serious since last September. Like genuinely, when I retired from football, like you can't say I'm playing pro ball and I'm like taking this serious. Like just people, this is all they do. Now this is all I do. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like getting to $100,000 a month was like, okay, cool. I got the 200 off of like brute force. I was like, okay. And then I like started bringing people in and I'm like, all right, I see like, this is how it works. Like you do have to work hard, but you have to work smart. You have to analyze and look at your metrics, understand where you can make adjustments, be willing to risk it, right? Because a lot of times, like I had that month, I learned so much in May and June about scaling that I never knew before. And now I have a completely different framework of how much I need to spend per day to get the orders fulfilled, why that's important. How many orders can you get fulfilled in a week, right? People will come back to buy, you have to be okay. So there's so much discomfort that you have to get over that most people struggle. But the reality is like your job is to make sure that you're finding the right people. Like that's my job, is to find the right talent, put them in the chair and give them all the resource they need and let them go to work. That's what I'm realizing, right? At the end of the day, you have to let them go to work. You have to let them thrive and do what they do best. That's how you grow. That's how you continue to grow, allow your business to flourish by putting people in the right position, right? And then the last thing that I think is super important that I personally didn't like do a great job of is personal time. So what I mean by that is like taking steps away from the business. I'm a person where like, I'll just work. I'll be so in the business that I can't take a step back and evaluate where we're at, right? Like I'll have people in positions for way too long that aren't supposed to be there. I won't be utilizing the talent as needed, right? So because of that, I'm looking at the business and making decisions based off what I think should happen rather than what's actually happening. And it's very hard because when you're in the midst of things, you think this should be like this and be like this and be like this. When you take a step back and you actually look at the business for this, remove all emotion and logically say like, this is what we're getting, this is where we're at, this is what we have, it makes you appreciate and look at business completely differently. And I'm realizing now more than anything than like, that is actually how you grow and how you scale. Like you have to take these pockets of time where you step back. I realize it happens to me in church all the time. And I feel horrible about it sometimes. Like, oh, I don't get enough personal time. Like I don't get enough time where I'm not thinking or I'm not acting. I do now because I go to the gym early in the morning. So it's helped out drastically. But before that, when I wasn't in the gym and not just in the gym, when I went to the sauna. So I have to go and get in the sauna because it's my time where like I sit there for 15 to 30 minutes and I just make sure, okay, if I'm listening to a podcast, ideas come to me. I wish I was able to bring a notepad in the sauna so I can write down, but the pages get soggy every time I try to do that. But what I'm trying to say is like, that's my time to be like, okay, what's the next play? What's the next move? Where are we going? What direction does the company need? What am I learning? How can I implement it, right? And I guess a bonus tip would be, I haven't listened to music nearly as much as I used to. Now I'm realizing like, one of the things I think is super important is like, I educate myself all day long. Like I spend the whole morning after I pray, after I like do my morning meditation, like I actually go through and like read the word. I spend my time with the Lord and then I get in the car and I pray in the car the whole way. And then when I get to the gym, the moment I like walk up the steps, I turn something on for the whole hour and then I'm listening for about almost 2 hours. So basically from I get up at 4:15, I get to the gym by 5 basically. I start my lift at 5. I go from 5 to about 6:15-ish, so about an hour 15. Then I get in the sauna from 6:15 to 6:45. Then I get out the shower and I hop in the car at 7, I come home. So basically from 5 to about 7, so 2 hours, all I do is just listen to nonstop. Like occasionally I listen to music. Most of the time I'm watching YouTube videos and I'm just listening to them in the background or I'm listening to a podcast the whole time. So I'm just getting educated every day. It's like I'm just getting a masterclass every single day. I did audiobooks, not necessarily anything wrong with it, but I like YouTube because I can pick what I want to learn or what's interesting to me. And it just challenges my mind. I hear people making significantly more money than me, what mistakes they've made, things that they've improved on. And it's like, if I can just go out and execute on that and implement these things and look at these mistakes, you know, I'm still gonna have my mentors, people that I pay for when I need really granular nuggets. But when I just need a broad nugget, like, yo, this is a way to look at this, then I'm just listening. And a lot of things are caught more than they're taught. They're caught more than they're taught. Whether you pay attention, whether you just hear something that somebody says subconsciously, and then you start changing your belief patterns, and then your behaviors change. And then that's when your whole entire circumstance changes. And that, truthfully, is like been probably, even though it's the last one, that's a huge hack. Like, not only do I understand like how there's ebbs and flows of business, right? I understood that, and that a lot of that just comes with delivery and how you're trying to satisfy the client. Because I could have kept more money and delivered slower, and theoretically I'm making more money, but I'm really not. Because if you look at May for me, I still had all that delivery from April that I didn't do roll into May, and then I still had to catch up. And then now I'm like kind of getting into the flow of things, which makes a little bit more sense, which is fine. But it's understanding what demographic that you're in and like what you're actually trying to get them to accomplish, on top of understanding that people change everything. Like, you have to understand that people change everything, and like your standard is set based off the people that you allow to be in your business and represent you, right? And that's how I look at it. And then lastly, just realizing at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie, and you have to look at them for what they are. But there is a way to get ahead, and it's like taking steps back and like giving yourself time. Like, you have to have time to think. And this is probably the thing that I struggle with the most. And like, speaking out loud is going to be the difference between me from going from 600 to $1 million. Is simply just, can I take a step away from the business and think? How many times can I do that, right? Whether that's, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be an everyday thing, might just be once a week. But if I can give myself dedicated time to actually do that, I think that would be huge. I think it'd be a game changer, right? So I hope this video helps. As always, please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. I am trying to grow this YouTube, but I'm also growing it in a very organic way. This is more like a podcast for me. I do not have crazy editors yet. I do not have crazy thumbnails and whatnot yet. We will get there. Things are, on the way, but there are more important things that I need to work on right now, which is growing the business, increasing our margins, continue to make sure that these leads are popping, and continue to grow the business. So if you're an agent or an agency owner and you want to work with us, go to agentleadlab.com. You can book a call or go to Lead Lab CRM and place a lead request. Outside that, I will see you guys next time. Peace.